If you operate an independent addiction treatment center in New York, you are currently operating against a massive influx of private equity capital. This concentration of wealth has turned the local market into a high-stakes auction for patient attention, and it's pushed the average advertising cost per admission past $3,500. This chart shows exactly what drives that inflation. A standard healthcare search term costs $5 a click, but bidding on high-intent terms like inpatient alcohol treatment in New York costs up to $120 per click. For a regional facility, outbidding heavily backed organizations for top-of-funnel traffic is mathematically impossible. They have the reserves to absorb the loss. You do not. Participating in an auction where the baseline entry fee guarantees a loss forces independent operators to find an entirely different battlefield. To find that battlefield, we have to look past the marketing metrics and map the actual patient journey, because the primary point of failure isn't actually your ad spend, it's your intake process. A high-cost lead calls your facility. If your team cannot immediately confirm an open bed and arrange placement right then and there, the logistical friction stalls the entire process. Here is what happens next. Expensive traffic pours into the funnel, but immediately backs up at a blocked intake pipe. The second a patient is disemboweled because inventory is unclear, that $120 click evaporates. You bought attention but failed to capture placement. The critical error most facilities make is treating a logistical, bed tracking problem as if it were a traffic generation problem. Buying more traffic doesn't fix a broken pipe. Web traffic without a frictionless, immediate intake strategy is an expensive vanity metric. It's an illusion of progress that drains your operating budget. When facilities realize they need more predictable volume, they typically turn to standard paid media on platforms like Google and Facebook. Before you can even load a credit card on these platforms, you have to pass a rigorous, mandatory LegitScript certification process to prove your ethical credentials. It's a high barrier to entry. Once you pass, the financial reality sets in. Regional facilities must prepare to burn $4,000 to $6,000 in minimum monthly ad spends just to maintain baseline visibility. And that spend varies wildly in quality. Google captures people actively searching for help, while Facebook relies on interruption marketing, showing ads to people scrolling their feed, which yields massive drop-off rates and drives your cost per admission even higher. Paid media will guarantee you top-of-funnel volume, but it delivers anonymous, unverified leads that carry maximum financial risk if your intake team is even slightly too slow to close them. The second standard alternative is chasing organic search visibility through local SEO. This avoids the pay-per-click tax, but it introduces a different cost. This pie chart shows the stark reality of Google search pages. The top 3 organic results capture roughly 75% of all patient clicks. If you aren't in those 3 spots, you are fighting for scraps. In a saturated market like New York City, achieving one of those top 3 positions requires a minimum of 12 months of sustained, flawless effort. That means 12 straight months of hyper-optimizing your Google My Business profile, building local directory citations, and writing geo-targeted landing pages before you ever see a meaningful return. Local SEO builds high trust, but a 1-year waiting period starves your facility of the immediate, consistent placements you need to cover payroll today. There is a third path launching in Maryland and New York right now that bypasses the search engine completely: mdaddiction.help. This network diagram shows how the platform's dual-sided mechanics work. It provides free, instant access for frontline workers on the left and serves as a paid, direct funnel for partnered facilities on the right. Instead of anonymous internet searchers, you are placed directly in front of over 150 verified referral coordinators, hospitals, and health departments who are actively trying to place patients from the front lines. The platform operates as a real-time bed tracker. When you update your availability, the frontline workers see it instantly. The logistical friction of finding an open bed is eliminated, and the intake bottleneck disappears. The cost for priority placement on the professional tier is a flat $599 a month. The trade-off is simple. You sacrifice broad, national vanity traffic, and in exchange, you receive hyper-targeted, verified B2B placements from professionals whose only job is to find your open beds. You shift your strategy away from gambling on top-of-funnel clicks and invest directly into guaranteed bottom-of-funnel operational efficiency. This 2x2 matrix maps how facilities should operate based on available capital and operational speed. Backed by private equity, they have a massive budget, but slow operations, sitting in the high-budget, low-agility zone, relying heavily on paid search. Private equity firms don't just use this zone to acquire patients. They use their bottomless budgets to intentionally drive up click costs and starve independent competitors out of the market. Independent and regional facilities must operate in the exact opposite space. You have to dominate the low-budget, high-agility zone, using clinical pipelines like mdaddiction.help to secure placements before they reach a Google search bar. Unless you possess a private equity war chest, fighting in that bottom right quadrant will drain your capital. Survival demands pivoting to the top left. Ultimately, the financial objective for an independent facility is achieving a net zero marketing budget, a system that completely pays for itself. To see how that works, you just have to look at what $600 buys you on the open market today. This split-screen comparison breaks down the exact math. On Google, $599 yields roughly 5 to 7 clicks from anonymous searchers, carrying a 0% guarantee of an actual admission. On the right side, that exact same $599 secures a direct, closed-loop pipeline to over 150 active hospital and first responder referral coordinators. The math is highly localized. Securing just one single patient placement from this verified network completely covers the platform's cost for the entire year. Stop funding vanity metrics and fake progress. Reallocate a fraction of your wasted ad spend toward closing your logistical loop. True competitive advantage doesn't belong to the facility that buys the most expensive ads. It belongs entirely to the facility seamlessly solving the placement problem.